Hi everyone, I'm Ishan Nagar, Product Manager for Data Fabric, and today I'll be giving you a quick walkthrough of what Data Fabric is. So without any further ado, let's get started. Right. So Data Fabric is the next evolution of data service with everything we had before and more. So first, let's see what data service is. Right. So at its core, think of it as a built-in database of UiPath. You can create tables, which we call entities, and its fields to store structured business data within your tenant. And then this data, which you store in the entity, can be used directly in Studio with activities like create, update, query. It can trigger automation when some data changes in an entity. And with all the data stored in the entity, you can also power your automation and apps with real-time data and much more. Some common use cases with this are like invoice processes, where you store invoice data which is extracted from DU and use it in your automation, or capture customer escalation in an app and process them downstream. Now let's take a look at what was missing before, and then how Data Fabric is solving it. So for example, the first issue, if it takes like data fragmentation, we know today that enterprises have data scattered across multiple systems, like in ERPs, in CRM, in databases, and much more. And this fragmented data needs to be accessed by your apps, your maestro processes, your automation to make the smarter decision. Second, there was no unified view, right? So there was no single place to see how all this scattered data connects with each other. Your business data, your processes data, and data in external systems all lived in silos. Third, if we see there was no reusable data layer. Each automation or app has to create and manage its own data. There was no shared, reusable, and governed data layer across the platform, making the scale and security harder. And there were a couple of more as well. So how exactly we are solving it? So at the core, the data fabric, you will see, act as a unified layer or backbone of UiPath. So giving your agents, your automation apps, seamless access to both UiPath platform data as well as the external data like SAP, Salesforce, and from databases. Now on the connectivity layer, we have enabled zero copy connections, which means you will be able to access data from external systems without storing them in UiPath. I'll repeat this part. You will be able to access the data from external system in real time without storing them in UiPath, right? And your processors can read and write data directly to this external system, like Salesforce and much more. Now, on the data modeling part, you can model your data using entity relationship diagrams, which are the ERDs, and choose how your data is connected between various systems and use them across your automation. And once this data has been modeled, it can be consumed like a local variable inside. So your Maestro apps and much more, and agents and API, this can build powerful workflow automation without you worrying about how to connect or sync data. So in short, your data stays where it is in the external system, but it behaves like it's a local. So now let's see a real world problem that many sales organization faces today, right? Which is understanding and improving the seller performance. So companies often ask, right, which seller is handling which account, what's their average NPS score, what's the ARR they manage, how do sellers in certain regions or department or product, or if a seller needs to undergo training, how do I automatically assign it to them? But here is the challenge, right? Your critical data is scattered. For example, your data about seller or account is in Salesforce, your seller job title, department, regions, all these are in Bamboo HR, and your NPS scores are in some analytics tool like Snowflake, right? So now I will pass it on to Jyoti, who will walk us through how we can use Data Fabric to solve this. So over to you, Jyoti.
Thank you, Sean. Let me quickly share my screen. Okay. So hi everyone, I'm Jyoti Raghav from UiPath, and as Ishan have already provided you a good overview of what is Data Fabric. So now let's move to the demo of Data Fabric. So we know that today we are going to talk about the seller profile use case that Ishan just mentioned. So here we have a seller profile data entity created, and as you can see, I have data coming from different external systems. I have some fields, basic information about my seller coming from Bamboo HR. I have some data coming from accounts related data from Salesforce, and some customer information like the NPAs, the feedback that they have shared from Snowflake. And I also have some data that is stored locally in my data fabric. So let me quickly show you how basically you can configure these different objects or these different external systems under one single entity. So you navigate to manage entity, and here you get the option to add object. So where you will be provided with the option to add external source or a local field. Because I have already added a local field, that's why it's disabled. So let's take a quick look at the experience of adding an external system. So let's say I want to add something from Bamboo HR, and this is the integration. This is the connection that I have already configured in integration service. So once you are done configuring the connection, you can select it from the dropdown, and then you can select from which object you want to pull the data, or based on your requirement or based on your use case. So let's say I want to pull the information from get employees list object from my Bamboo HR. And then I'll click on proceed, and here you can see my object is added. So now based on my scenario, based on the use case that I'm working on, I can pull the relevant fields. For example, let's say I want the address, I want the age. I also want some more information like the country, their date of birth, department, and so on. And then you can manage your joins. So here you can see my local field are like all these tables, or all these systems have one single common field, which is email. So I have connected all these external systems with my local field via email. And once you are done configuring your data entity, let me also show you how the data would look like. So this is how your data would appear, just like how it used to appear in your data service. So here you can see I have fields from I have my local fields here. I also have field coming from Bamboo HR, the department, division, job title, and so on. And I also have data coming from my Salesforce, account ID, work email, and similarly from Snowflake. You can see customer feedback that has been provided by customer, the NPS score, and so on. So as Ishan already mentioned, that this is a no copy data. So basically it's a live connection. So you will every time you will get up-to-date data. So you need not to worry about any stale data, and your data is of course not getting copied in the UiPath system. And now that you have a unified view of your data from multiple systems, what you can do, basically you can either create some reports. So for example, for this seller use case, we have generated some reports where we are presenting information like the average sales amount by seller experience, or by based on products, different products that UiPath offers, or based on certain locations. And apart from that, you can also have, for example, like if you see in my data fabric entity, I have a training field, which is a local field over here. And for some of the sellers, the training have not been assigned. And I want to have an automation in place, which will consider the location, which will consider the accounts that my sellers are working on, and then assign a corresponding training to my sellers. So I already have a automation in place that basically assigns corresponding training. So you can use the data service, whatever activities are already available will work for data fabric as well. And like I have created this email notification, which sellers will receive once any training is assigned to them. So this way, you can not only use it only for your automations, but also you can present this data in the apps, or maybe if you want to present this data in your action center. So you get the data from multiple source systems in a one single unified view, and you need not to worry about like configuring the connections again. And as also Ishan mentioned, that you need not to like reconfigure the connections over and again. So once the data entity is created, and for some different use case, if you want to use the data from similar or similar data you want to use, you can use a similar entity for your scenario. So I think that's all, and I'll hand over back to Ishan. He'll talk a little bit more about the preview. Thank you.
Jyoti, thanks for that demo. So we all saw how easy it was now. So without data fabric, stitching all these things, different multiple system and their data, stitching all of them will require a lot of automation for you to create. So, but with data fabric, you can just create joins with multiple fields. Like you can join to system based on email, customer name, or some other parameters, and just have it in one place. And the best part is that we are not copying the data in UiPath, right? We are fetching it during runtime on the API so that you will always get the real-time data, right? Data Fabric is right now in public preview. I'll encourage you all to please try it out, identify the use cases, build solution with this, and share your feedback so that we can make it even better. Right. Here are some sample profiles where Data Fabric can help. So if you are using document understanding to extract some data and then doing some automation and also writing back these data to some external systems, you can directly use via Data Fabric. Or if you want to merge platform data with external source system like CRM or HR, or you are building any automations app that uses Data Fabric to power them with structured and governed data, you can still use Data Fabric. So what's coming next? So we'll be extending the capabilities of connecting with external system more. So we'll be introducing more connectors. For example, some more database connections using JDBC and ODBC connectivity, so that with your system, you can directly connect and access the data in real time. We'll also make sure that Data Fabric is available as a tool for your agents, so that agents can use it and give answer to you on or perform various tasks. And also we'll be bringing the data transformation so that you can convert data. For example, concatenating two strings, bring some basic numbers and data operation. That would be easy over here. So that was all from Data Fabric. Do reach out to me or Jyoti in case you have any questions or you want to see or some demo.